how that's their business model, I would assume.
Well, I mean, so essentially they did open up their data and create the Netflix prize to see if others could come up with a better approach. So clearly they've got a good approach.
Right.
And it's probably a big hodgepodge of stuff.
Right, it sounded...
It's like not something you can really share because you're like, a pinch of this, a little of this.
Right.
And they put it together and they're like, this is what we have and it works really well. And like...
So sort of like a chef.
Yeah.
Just kind of throw it in there.
And it works well. And so it's probably not something you would want to share with people.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Oh, I will not gesture. I'm sorry,
Will not gesture with your left hand, only my right hand.
I gesture a lot when I talk, obviously, so I will try really hard to just sit on that one. Ready? Okay.
Oh my goodness. So we're just going for it.
So we're going to go, and we're going to, basically, what we're doing today is we have to get a good, 10 minutes of raw footage of interview with you, and then we're going to cut it up and use it for part of our final deliverable later. But
Oh, cool. Am I going to get a video?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we will totally send it
Okay.
to you. We will totally send it to you.
Okay, good. You just cut my head off, put someone else's head in there. Yeah.
We'll get some Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So this is very casual. We're cutting out. If you say something, you're like, this is not like a recorded going live news interview or something. We're
Okay.
very just wanted to talk to you more, have a kind of casual conversation, and
All right.
hopefully learn some stuff from you about recommendation engine.
Okay, well, tell me if you do.
Okay. Well, all right. So,
More specifically, what exactly you learned.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I promise you can give us a quiz later.
Okay, there'll be a quiz later. Just be prepared.
Okay, so we just wanted to start, if you could tell us your name, what you do, a little bit about your work and experience.
So my name's Abdur. My PhD's in computer science from MIT. Did a little teaching at Georgetown. Ran a research lab at Maryland. Was kind of dissuaded with academia in general because the impact from your work is so slow. So maybe 20 people reference it, and 10 years down the line, someone might use it. And so I really am like a big proponent that technology is to improve our lives. And the only way to really marry and bring those together faster is to go start building things for people. And so I went to AOL. I was the chief architect at AOL for a while. After that, I started my own company called Surmise that I did real-time search, summarization, sentiment analysis. We merged with Twitter about 4 years ago. They were like 10 guys, and we were like 5, and thought this would work out well. And built the company up. I was the chief scientist at Twitter. And so anything thinking about data, you can think about data in 3 parts. Who's producing it and who's consuming it. And so we built the analytics groups. And it's awesome where we can figure out, where are people signing up, what languages do they speak, how often do they use it, are they on mobile, and all these great questions for the business. The second way you can look at data is what's wrong with it. And so we built the spam algorithms that go hunt down spammers and try to get rid of them. Blight on humanity. And then the third part is how do you start building new experiences and using this data to enrich other people's experiences. And so we built things like Trends, the recommendation engine, and some other stuff.
Very neat. So,
how's that?
Very good. Okay, so your work with Twitter, when you say recommendation engine, your work with Twitter, is that where it recommends who to follow, or is that the trends, or are there more?
They're all recommendations of a type. So you can think about, so what's your goal? Why are you recommending someone something? So Amazon recommends products. Why? They want to sell more products. And B, people might actually be looking for it and didn't know it, right? You buy a fork, maybe a spoon would be great too. And you're like, oh yeah, totally, I want a spoon as well. And so you get them together. So customers who bought this also bought this, right? So on Twitter, there's a bunch of different kinds of recommendations, right? We could think of Trends as a recommendation. Hey, did you know a bunch of people are talking about this? You may or may not be interested, but like all of a sudden it's a recommendation of other content you were not aware of. So it goes under discovery. Who to follow, another type of recommendation.
I have a bottle of water if you need one.
Yes.
the smaller types of
Smart water.
Just stepped on this. Oh my gosh, is it okay?
Where was I?
Okay, talking about
Different types of recommendations.
Yes. Yes.
So trends are one type of recommendation, which you're discovering content, things people are talking about. Another recommendation might be other accounts you might want to follow. Who are people similar to this? So if you go to the New York Times Science, might also discover NPR Science account, right? So similar to. Or you sit down and you're like, hey, did you know all your friends are following this other person? Maybe you want to as well. So Amazon's goal was sell products. Our goal was to densify the graph and have discovery of sometimes you learn things that are interesting or kind of relevant to your life.
Interesting. And so would you say the kind of the Twitter goal, especially with the who to follow, is it a goal of here, you know, because I feel like there can sort of be two pieces of, or maybe they often come together in your experience. Is it sort of so, you know, here is someone who is similar to you, or who we think, you know, you might be friends with, maybe you should know, or here is someone who's, you know, sort of different and who you might not have known about, but who you still may like, or are those sort of part and parcel?
Well, I would start with even a more basic question. Someone who's following no one has no content, and the product's not very useful. And so you can look and see that there's a correlation between activity and the number of accounts you're following, right? And I say correlation because it's not causality, right? There's a correlation. So, but I think the basic premise of like if you're following no one and you have no content in your timeline, it's not very good. So I think every one of these recommendation engines start out with like what is the problem we're trying to solve, and here people we're trying to solve, there should be great content. Now what's great for you? Well, you know what, if you followed this account, you might like similar ones to it. Or guess what, all your friends follow this other one, maybe it's a friend, maybe not. And so it's really about having content there. That's the product.
And so you would say that with probably most or all recommendation engines, you would start out first with what your goal is, and then
right.
you build the recommendation engine and the algorithms itself to sort of meet that goal.
Exactly. So Netflix, they want you to watch movies. Well, guess what? If you don't know about any movies, you're not going to watch any. So they recommend movies. Hey, you watch that, you might be interested in this, right? Because they want you to continue to use their product and make it more useful. So that's the goal of every recommendation engine, is to recommend something useful.
Mm-hmm. And then some of that also depends on, it seems to me like a lot of engines these days have user feedback in a sense, like Netflix, you know, it knows you watch something, but then it also asks you to rate that thing, or like Pandora, you thumbs up, thumbs down a song. With Twitter, would you say that it's, you know, it'll recommend that I should follow you because we have friends in common, or the cases, and if I choose to, that's me saying, yes, I liked that recommendation. If I choose not to follow you, that's me saying, no, I didn't? No,
I don't think you can look at it that way, at least for that product. And the reason is there might be a whole myriad of reasons of why you don't follow someone. You might be not watching that part of the screen, right? Is that a good signal to use then if no one's actually looking at it? So if you use your phone, it's really hard to get to those recommendations. Just because you didn't use them doesn't mean it's bad. So it's difficult to get sometimes the negative feedback, right? So a recommendation engine can use positive and negative feedback. Positive to reinforce certain features, negative to de-emphasize certain features. So the thumbs up, thumbs down is kind of the positive and negative reinforcement in one of these learning algorithms. Not all systems have the negative. Sometimes you kind of have implicit negative, right? Show this someone 5 times and then mix it up. Maybe show it to them again.
See if they change their mind.
You never know. Like it changes their mood, other things. Problem when you have hundreds of millions